disappeared. Oh no.
Promise I'm here.
She's here. There she
There
is.
I am.
I was like,
Hello.
don't tell me I broke the internet already right at the beginning of our stream. Let me get you
No.
repositioned today. So,
Yeah.
how did everything work out for you last week, Andrea? Like, it was hotter than all get out here.
It's super hot, very hot. We went camping last weekend and we almost melted, but we made it.
It was brutal. It was
It's
brutal.
pretty
They
bad.
decided to cut
Yeah.
my internet a day early on Thursday last week, right in the middle of our stream.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I got a little bit of
But
quiet time, but did not get the lawn mowed. It was a very trying Saturday. I forgot to tell you that story. I went over to Home
uh-oh.
Depot to get some paint to do some work in the kitchen. Come out dead battery. So
Ugh,
I'm changing
you've
a dead
had
battery
a
in
rough go.
97-degree heat. So not fun at all. So lots
No,
of folks
no.
tuning in today. This is going to be a good one. Tuning in from a library in Canada. Traded in my
Nice.
49-inch Ultra screen for a 13-inch USB monitor. So working from the library, I don't think we've ever had anybody check in on a live stream from the library. So we can count that one up. So we got
Yep.
some folks from the UK hanging in here today. So that's good because our guest is from the UK. Jamie Pappas tuning in. He's tuning in from Canada. So thank you all for tuning in. Ernst is tuning in from Rotterdam. So I was trying to do math. 2,000 hours. What time is that for him? Is that 10 o'clock? No, 8 o'clock. I know.
8 o'clock.
It's like, I got to do math. I was like 6 plus 2, carry the 1. All right. It's 8 o'clock for him. So. Okay. We do have one. We were going to see if we had anybody that's tuning in from a very late time zone. So somebody's tuning in from Nairobi, Kenya.
Wow.
So Samuel, let us know what time that is. We've had some very dedicated tribers stay up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning to watch these live streams. But I love these tribal fireside chats because we've broken the internet a couple times with these. So hopefully we don't break the internet today. So, Andrea, this is a topic that is I don't know. How would you say that the tribers are when it comes to video and video production?
Well, if I'm including myself as well, I would say a little bashful, maybe
Gotcha.
a little
So
nervous.
let's see if we might be able to turn some of that around today.
Yeah,
So
that'd be good.
Samuel said it's only 9 p.m. for him.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's not as
Okay.
I thought it was going to be. See, I can't do math. I need to go back to school. So
I need a globe. Yeah.
I know, right? So without further ado, help me welcome our guest today, personal friend of mine. Pete and I met through the internets, through live streaming back in 2020, right after he sold his MSP. He was my very first guest on my live stream in 2020. So please help me welcome Mr. Pete Matheson, the man, the myth, the legend, Pete Matheson,
Woohoo.
to the Tribal Fireside Chat today. So we're
Thank
going to be
you very
talking
much.
obviously about video. He's an absolute ninja when it comes to video. If you don't follow him, we're speaking of YouTube. First of all, I want you folks to like and subscribe here on the YouTube channel here for the Tech Tribe. But also when we're done, go over to Pete's YouTube channel and like and subscribe there. So I think you're closing in on what, 200,000? Am I?
Soon, I
Wow.
think we're 180 something, 170 something at the moment.
So the man knows what he's talking about when it comes to video. So I'm glad we've got you on the show today to help the tribers really get their arms and really help them understand what video is all about, but more importantly, be able to implement video into their business. So we've got some questions. Andrea is going to kick us off for questions, but if you're tuning in, this is going to be recorded. As soon as we're done the live stream today with Pete, you'll be able to go back and immediately watch and rewatch and pause and rewind, because I guarantee you there's going to be all kinds of stuff that Pete's going to be dropping today. But if you have a question for Pete, type in the letter Q colon in the YouTube chat. We'll try to save those. We'll try to do them as we go. but we'll try to save some time for the end to answer questions as well. So, Andrea, why don't you get us started with kind of where they're helping our tribers really get their hands and arms and embrace video?
Absolutely. So, Pete, you are quite the video ninja, as Andrew put it. So, before we dive into some of your gems and things you're going to drop for us, tell us a little bit about how you actually got started in doing video, like what got you here today.
Yeah, so I guess to start off with my MSP, like why do any of us do any form of marketing? And it's obviously to sell your services, to get more clients and bring more leads in. And so that's really fundamentally why I started getting involved with video marketing. Now, like, why specifically video marketing? I think way back in the day, my kid was getting involved in, like, starting to watch YouTube, and be it or like it or not, kind of kids sometimes get drawn towards tablets and videos and all those kind of things. And YouTube is very good at capturing people's attention. So he'd watch his kind of YouTube things throughout the day, and like Blippy and those kind of kids things. He'd go to bed, and then we'd start watching like other kind of normal YouTube things, like grown-up YouTube, like Peter McKinnon, Cody Warner. There's Sarah Dietschy, kind of tech YouTubers, Marques Brownlee, big names in YouTube now. And so started watching all of these kind of content creators posting their regular YouTube videos. And I could see a lot of people were building businesses off the back of just purely doing video. And I just thought, what if I could do the same thing? What if I could do video and take that kind of casual, vloggy, unprofessional approach in some cases, certainly unpolished, and do that as part of my MSP? Even though, like, I hate the way I hate my voice, hate the way my face looks on camera. Everyone hates listening to themselves and watching videos of themselves. But from my perspective, nobody else was doing it. And so as far as I was concerned, it's a very, very easy way to instantly elevate your company and yourself and your brand above all of your local competition. So as far as I was concerned, I just basically said to myself, just suck it up, get over yourself, and just start making videos. And that really is what kind of kicked things off for me on like my video journey. I wasn't into video before that. I'd never made a video before. I never edited. I didn't know how to use a camera. I literally knew nothing. And I just kind of taught everything myself through watching YouTube videos, funnily enough.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. You said something about, elevating yourself, elevating your brand. And I know a lot of what you talk about is about brand building. So how do you see, doing videos evolving into becoming brand building?
Yeah, interesting. I think there's two approaches that I see a lot of people go down with brand building. Step number one, or approach number one, I guess, is spending a lot of money on like a big video, about us, or maybe an ad campaign. And then you got the second approach, which is spending anywhere from nothing at all to maybe a little bit of money on kind of lots of videos, lots of content. And it is possible to do the whole kind of brand thing with the first approach, with one big video, but your chances of getting that right is tiny. Like, think of Dollar Shave Club. They made one advert and they absolutely exploded their company. They got sold out, millions of orders overnight from just that one ad, which cost them like $4 or $5 grand. So that's like, you see that and go, oh, let's make the Dollar Shave Club. But actually, the second approach, in my opinion, is where you can easily win just by posting regular content, seeing how it performs, adapt it, try again, and just keep on posting until you find your way, you find your voice. Now, if you want a really good current example of building specifically brand, I would say look at Heather from Counting Creators. She's like an MSP bookkeeper. She's a Tech Tribe member as well, and she's a fantastic kind of, just go check her on LinkedIn. Look at the videos she's posting, and just kind of, you can see it for yourself. And many people have probably bumped into her at networking events by this stage as well by now.
So
awesome. So really, it's about. Sorry, Andrew. I was going to say it's really about just consistency and like posting on a regular basis and really building that way is what you're recommending.
Yeah, honestly, when I was starting to do video, I didn't set out to build a brand. I didn't have we all thought brand building is you get a logo, you slap it on some websites and headed paper and all those kind of things. But it wasn't until we were at a was it a networking event or an award ceremony, and someone approached me and said, "Hey, you're Pete from Techers, your IT company. Absolutely love the brand you built." And I was just like, "We've got a brand? That's really cool. Cool. Where did that come from?" And it was just off the back of like, brand is like, the brand is you. Brand is your company, of course, but brand fundamentally is you and your ethos, your ethics, how you do business, your personality. Like the brand is your company's personality. Like, you know, the brand's image that people have of company like Apple, great customer services, because they've been developing that over time. Everyone tells stories of when I've got plenty of stories. My MacBook laptop broke many years ago. It was 3 years old. It was beyond warranty, and they gave me a whole brand new one, like a current generation model, at like zero cost. I've had like my parents take an old iPhone in, they take it in for repair, it's out of warranty. They go, "Oh, looks like you've looked after this. We're just going to give you a brand new one." And I know that's not every single case, but that's how you build brand, by just being consistent with the service and your kind of the way you deliver things.
So you mentioned that, like, none of us are going to be Coke or Starbucks, where our logo is going to be globally recognizable. So why do you think that, using video to build your brand is the best marketing bang for your buck, if you will?
Just to your point there, I do think if you kept at it, you could be the Coke or those kind of brands. The interesting point there is also, like, you don't buy a can of Coke because they've given you a discount or a special offer. You buy a can of Coke because, the Christmas advert comes up and you're like, "Oh, it's Christmas now. The Coke advert's on." And that's just perfect examples of like brand building. Nike, all those kind of big brands, really good at brand building. Sorry, what's the question again?
Why do you think that MSPs specifically should embrace video and video marketing, video brand building as a targeted? Why do you think that is the best thing that an MSP could be doing marketing wise?
So I would say that, as a bit of a caveat, it's not just the video that works. Obviously, I'm very big on video because that's kind of what I'm doing nowadays as my full-time thing. But video's part of, like, I guess you could call it like the marketing triad or something. You got video, audio, and written. And so when I guess when I'm talking about content in general, content means all of those things together. And in general speaking terms, content, what other form of marketing can you do for free that costs you nothing, where you can immediately get feedback from your target audience as to what you're putting out is like good or if it's like total crap? Like you post content, one or two people might consume that content. You post another bit of content that maybe gets double the reach or double the views. That's then data that you can work with and do something with. And then best of all, once you get to that stage where you find the content that's working, and maybe you do get a few bits of content that have, runaway success and they get loads of views or loads of reach or loads of comments and engagement, you can take that piece of free organic content that has performed extremely well, has already proved that it performs well, maybe adapt it slightly with like a call to action at the end of it, and you can then go and run it as an ad. And you already know it works because it's kind of blown up organically, and you can take good content and do that. Like, you can't do that with any other form of marketing, not really. And like for example, so there was an event I was at last week. I went to a Kajabi event here in London, and one of the really interesting things was when one of the speakers asked who had been consuming their content, and actually pretty much the whole room put their hands up. And then they said who had purchased something from them. I think it was like he was like an online kind of course guy, and pretty much half of the room put their hands up. But that person on stage didn't have a clue who at least half of that audience was, because they were just the hidden audience. They've been sat there consuming his content week in, week out, not saying a single thing, maybe not even commenting or interacting or clicking the like button, none of those things. It's the hidden audience that you don't see when you're creating a lot of your content. And to a lot of people, it just feels like you're, posting content into an ether and it's just disappearing and no one's really watching. When in actual fact, they're watching, they're reading, they're listening. And it's just those kind of people that you need to just nurture over time and continually post that content.
Absolutely. So I think for MSPs, we want to, every single thing that we do marketing wise, to turn into business. And the way it sounds like video seems to be a little bit of maybe a slow burn where it's not going to immediately turn into business. Can you give us some examples of folks who have turned video into actual business where they can attribute it off of the back of video?
I would say, just to comment on what you started saying there. So MSPs in general are, as far as I've kind of come across, are pretty shit at communication. Sorry, I'm allowed to swear. I'm not too sure.
I don't have my bleep button ready. So
okay, MSPs are pretty bad at communication, and kind of just like, you know, we all learn differently. Some of us are visual learners, some of us are practical, some of us can just read and we can, you know, learn from just reading. But that's the same with the way we consume content. Some people prefer watching videos, some people read again, some people listen in their car, some have to physically wait until you're face to face to tell them. But video just fixes a huge part of that bad communication problem. And it also fixes getting their customers and their prospects to listen to them. You know, you can shoot a video a week, turn it into a blog post, post it on your website, email it to your list, turn the audio into a podcast, or even have a separate podcast where you can then also, you know, turn into more clips and more articles. And the end result is you get to spend less time creating your content, and customers are always going to be up to date because they are consuming the content in the way that they choose to consume it, whether it is in the car or watching your videos. But you asked about specific examples of where it's worked. So for me, it was around 6 months in, we had a direct sale off the back of a video. We also had prospects call us a year after we'd been posting content. And I remember it clear as day. They were just like, I've been watching your content for literally the last year. I've not liked, commented, like shared, like not a single time. I wasn't ready to buy then, but now I am ready to buy. Here's my credit card. Where do we get started? That kind of thing. And that's like, again, that unknown hidden audience. That's the people you're kind of serving, but you don't know they're there. And that's half the problem. Other people, Tom Lawrence is a very obviously an easy one. I think he's at like probably 500,000 subscribers, if not heading towards 1 million at this stage. Stopped all other marketing just to focus on video. We've got any other smaller examples. Marcus Dempsey from InfoSec Governance. So he's a guy that does like cybersecurity reviews and you know, Cyber Essentials reviews, all the big long documents, boring stuff. But he's done videos that he posted years ago on his channel, and he still gets leads in from those videos. And every time I speak to him, he's like, "Yeah, should probably shoot some more YouTube videos." Like, yes, your old videos are bringing in leads, and you think you should maybe shoot some more YouTube videos? Yes, you should. And I'm the same thing. I have you know, my own YouTube channel. So I have a separate MSP YouTube channel. I don't think I posted on it. I think I posted one video maybe 3 months ago, but I think it might be coming up to a year where I haven't posted on it. But every single, I would say every other day, I'm getting people sign up to my my mailing list, my newsletter, which has like 60% open rates, which I haven't actually really used properly at all for the last year either, because I'm getting lazy. We're selling 1 to 2 courses a month, and I literally, again, have not posted or done anything. And this is what I'm hearing from a lot of other people. Again, all these same people I've spoken to, they made content a long time ago, and over time, it's doing its work, and then they eventually do bring in leads. So the problem with the MSP specific space is there aren't many people that are doing it. And this is kind of the good and bad news, is like not many people are doing it. So the bar for entry is like way, way down here. So for you to just like take your phone out and post a video on like LinkedIn or YouTube, you're already above 99% of other MSPs out there who aren't going to do that. So it's really, really easy, I know, in quotes, to get started with kind of doing that and making that change to shooting videos. Also, another one I'll throw in here as well, actually. It's not MSP space related. So when I sold my MSP, there was a local accountant of ours that had a company around about the same size that I did. I spoke to him like a couple of months ago, and he has now brought in over 1 million in revenue directly off the back of his YouTube videos. So much so, he has now switched off all other marketing for his business. He hires 2 full-time staff to deal with the leads that come in off the back of those videos. And they've like tripled or quadrupled in size since we've sold, which has just been incredible to see. So it does really does work if you can commit and stick to it.
Absolutely.
Nice.
We got a couple comments or questions come in. Do you want to cover those, Andrew, or you want to hold those to the end?
Whatever you want to do, Andrew. If you want to bring them up, that's fine.
It's not in the chat. Web at IT Services says, so when you're referring to video marketing / content, are you focusing solely on social media, or can you use this option in an email marketing campaign? I think you kind of semi-answered that question
All of the above.
Yeah.
Again, it comes back to like what kind of content does your audience consume? And when I say your audience, your prospects. So do they watch videos? Do they read? Do they listen? And the thing I love about video is you can take that video and then fairly easily convert it into all the other formats fairly quickly and very easily. You know, especially with like good old ChatGPT nowadays. There's lots of AI tools out there that can make this kind of system a lot easier for you.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that it's not a one and done with video. Like you can do so many things with it. So, and it's evergreen. Like, yeah, like you said, you've got people watching videos that you put out 2 or 3 years ago. Like nobody's reading the email you sent out 2 years ago. Like
exactly. And that's why I will also say, just adding it in here for Heather, if she's listening, post your videos to YouTube. I know people that are posting videos to LinkedIn. And again, like a day, maybe a week later, your post, your video, even the text you've written, it's just at the bottom of someone else's feed. No one's seeing it unless it's like a super viral post. Whereas YouTube, it's indexed by Google, it's searchable, like it's so readily available if you upload that same video to YouTube, whether it's a YouTube short or a long form video, just post it onto YouTube. It's the second biggest platform in the world, owned by the world's biggest platform in the world. So just make sure you're posting into YouTube.
Perfect.
So Pete, you mentioned that MSPs aren't always the best at communicating. So I can imagine that as they're starting out doing video, they probably make a few mistakes along the way. What are some of those common mistakes and how can they avoid them?
The most common one that I've come across is thinking video is like a one and done type thing. So spending all the money on one big video and then calling it a day, you know, the Dollar Shave Club approach. And most of the time that's an about us video. So we're going to spend $5,000. We're going to get a professional team in to shoot a video that's going to tell the story about us and how good we are and all these kind of things. Whereas you could take that same money and split it throughout like a year's worth of content, finding video editors, shooting the content yourself, buying the gear yourself. There's obviously things like MDF funding, which you can work with various vendors who can actually help you buy some of the gear if you want to buy the gear. Other issues, and probably the other biggest issue, is just staying consistent. I know a lot of people have started doing video, got bored or disappointed with results in very short periods of times, and then got distracted by like other quick wins. AI is a big one at the moment. Oh, there's an AI tool here that's going to go and search LinkedIn and find me some leads, and it's going to deliver me some hot leads. And let's just like push the button and then it's all automated. It's kind of like the get rich quick kind of scheme stuff. Everyone's looking for the button they can press to go and find me leads. Whereas the people that are like significantly ahead and winning from a lot of people are the ones that just stay consistent, like stick in your lane to a certain extent. And this is the same for almost any other avenue of marketing. Like, yeah, I'm a big advocate for video because that's kind of the one that I've chosen and has done well for me. But you could do the same approach with, stick on Google Ads. If you focused all your time and effort on Google Ads, nailing it down, figuring out the issues, figuring out the best keywords or the best campaigns or the best packaging, you could be like, the Google Ads could be your thing, or SEO, blog posts, email marketing, direct mail. Like you can focus on your thing, just stick at it, learn from your mistakes and get better. And that's the same that I think I love video because a lot of the video stuff is technically free other than the cost of your time to do it. Whereas, direct mail, pay-per-clicks, you have to physically spend money to then get the results. So yeah, video is kind of going back to what I was saying earlier. It's one of the only things where you can just post stuff for free, see how it performs, and then adapt and go from there.
Nice. Yeah, you said everybody kind of wants that easy button. Are there a lot of challenges getting started? And is there a way to kind of work around those? Like, what do you sort of recommend as people want to get started?
Yes. Again, there were kind of two big ones. It's the getting started and then the staying consistent, I would say.
Right.
First of all, like the getting started, it's the, what do I talk about? How do I do it? What if I look funny or sound funny? What if I get something wrong? And it's very difficult to go, overcome those. And lots of those, it is just a case of just, again, like going back to what I was saying to myself, just kind of suck it up and get on with things. I know that might be like a bit blunt for a lot of people, but you can sit there and worry and fuss about how you're going to look and how you're going to come across, but in the meantime, someone else is going to post a video and they're always going to be a step ahead of you. So that's kind of where I see the getting started. And there are obviously things to help with, like how to come up with ideas. There's lots of kind of help out there on how to get started with those kind of things. And then there's the staying consistent, because most of the most of the people listening, they're going to have to be dealing with either themselves or staff on holiday, on sick, or you get busy with work, you get called out late nights. You're going to have to try and juggle video marketing and content marketing with everything else. And I kind of get a bit fed up talking about like consistency and stuff with MSPs a lot. Like it gets frustrating because people don't stick with video marketing. And again, they keep getting distracted by other things. They won't post a video, and yet you still ask basically any MSP what their biggest problem is. And it's getting leads, building a brand, getting new business in. When the answer is like, in my kind of world, I'm giving them the answer constantly, all the time. Like, post videos, stick with it, just trust the process, adapt, look at the stats, learn from your mistakes, post more videos. But everyone's too busy attending networking events, industry events, or just doing client work in the evenings when they shouldn't be doing, or getting distracted with like shiny new objects, AI stuff. And it's just, I find a lot of the problems with, this is like going down a rabbit hole now. I find a lot of the problems with like the marketing and MSP like industry in terms of like getting help, I guess, really, is you don't know how qualified the people are who are trying to sell you something. So like, I'm going to relate this to, I can't say their name because it's going to identify who it is out of my family, but a parenting group on Facebook. There's this like parents group on Facebook where someone's asking for advice. My kids can't sleep. How do I get my children to sleep? And so somebody jumps into the chat and gives them all the help. Oh, this is all you need to do. This, you need to do that. This is how you're going to get your kids to sleep. Their kids don't sleep. The person that's giving advice on how to get your kids to sleep, their kids don't sleep. So what position are they in to then give the advice? And it happens like all the time across every industry. This isn't like an MSP specific thing, but like people who can talk to you all the time about this is how you should get leads and market your business and buy my system and buy my course. But they're like the same people that are struggling to get leads and generate business themselves. So it's just a huge thing that I keep coming across. I always try to do my due diligence when I did anything in my MSP. If I was going to do any form of marketing, then look at the people that had like been through the various systems or bought the course or taken the mastermind group and look at what's happened to their business. And I even went to the stage of like looking at like credit checking them and seeing what happened to their business after the stage they signed up for the thing. And did they take on a load more debt? Did they start becoming more profitable? There's loads of things you can do. But it's just I'm very very dubious about a lot of services out there who are promising the world and not able to deliver. So that went on a real random tangent there.
Yeah, I would think one of the things is maybe thinking that you have to have this amazing studio like you have or like Andrew has, to be able to move forward with video. And obviously you can do a video even on your phone, right? The quality of the phone video these days is even, something that you could even start with. You don't have to wait to have some master studio to get started. So
absolutely not.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you and I our first video, I remember first call we got on, I was still trying to figure out the camera. I was literally had an iPhone clamped to my monitor and I was using my iPhone as the camera, but it worked. I just wanted to get started. But I think most of us are introverted. You and I talked about that. We're both introverts. So I think Andrea is as well. So the tough part was just putting yourself out there. But I noticed something happen. I would do live streams. I know you do more of the recorded videos. I'm a one take. I hate editing, so I do everything live.
Yeah, this is weird. I'm not used to talking in real live.
But it forced me out of that box that I had put myself in. That I'm an introvert. I can't do this. Like I won't be good at this. I absolutely love it now, and it allows me to. I mean, you and I connected. We've never met in real life. Still to this day. We've done multiple. We had a podcast last year with Richard and Scott Riley. It's like there's so many things, so many opportunities that opened up from putting yourself out there on video. And I think that new New Frontiers asked this question: do we have to be on camera for credibility, or can it be just as effective to use something like Doodly? I've not heard of
I'm assuming
Doodly,
Doodly is just like a little kind of top-down note drawing thing.
Gotcha.
Uh,
So let's go there. That
I do
kind of
generally
piggybacks
think
on that.
Yeah, I do think there's, credibility when is this kind of the same as when you're watching like a PowerPoint presentation? Do you want to watch the PowerPoint presentation, or do you want to watch the person that's giving you the presentation? And like, who are you going to build a relationship with? The bit of paper or the person that's actually giving you the information? That's, very hard stance on that.
Yeah. So I think that answers our question. Like to build that know, like, and trust factor, you're going to get there quicker if I can see your face.
Exactly,
Rather than
and you're quite right. Like the whole introvert thing, it's really fascinating actually, because I hate going to, like, I went to an event last week. Like I said, I hate going to events. I hate being with people. This is a weird thing, but I'm quite happy and comfortable sitting in front of a camera and talking to a camera. As soon as someone else, like I hired a videographer 6 months ago maybe, and having someone else in the room filming me, that is weird. Like, again, I was just used to having just the camera, and now I'm slowly kind of getting used to having someone else film me. It's such a weird place to be in, but I do love video because you can do retakes. Again, the whole kind of live thing, but you shoot your video. If it's really that bad, you can always retake. But also, to a similar extent, like perfectionism is like the worst thing ever. Don't get stuck on to like just being perfect with everything. Just post the thing, move on to the next thing.
So New Frontier Tech. Yes, you knew what we were going to say. So yeah, just think about that in your own life. Like, we are naturally like that. Like, I am not going to sit across a desk from somebody after meeting them for the first time and immediately want to write them a $3,500 a month check. And that's what we're asking people to do as MSPs. So that breaks that challenge of trying to get there. If I can see you and build that connection over time, way ahead of the sales process.
But again, you don't have to, like, I guess if you're worried about being on camera, you don't have to be on camera. Again, it just depends. Like, where are your prospects? What are they doing? Where are they consuming content? Like I said before, some people do it with video, audio, text. You can do all of those things. Just find out the best messaging, the best way of wording things. Again, see how it performs, adapt it, and just keep posting whichever format you're comfortable with. I just like video because, again, it's just a very, very quick way to shortcut a lot of that process, the know, like, and trust process. If you can see someone, you just get a load more, body language. You can hear what they're saying rather than just like something that's written and it could be misconstrued or something.
Perfect. I think we covered that one, Andrea, but as far as the mistakes go, we're just going through, we had a big list for you. So we're just making sure that we kind of thought through some of the things that people are doing. I think I'm going to jump on to the question here. So we talked a little bit about how much time and money. I think that kind of answers this Samuel's question. Are there basic minimums you recommend in terms of setup? I really appreciate the voice quality, even on this live cast, so I'm pretty sure that's there's a floor somewhere.
Yeah, so in terms of like gear and stuff, like we've said before, you can literally pick up, any modern mobile phone, you can pick it up and start using it, and it's more than adequate. Maybe get a tripod so you can fix it so it's not wobbly and shaky hand or anything like that. I would definitely say audio is the first thing to focus on. You can have a great camera, but the bad audio and people just won't watch or won't listen. So a good microphone, like literally this setup that we're using here for this live streaming thing, not excluding the camera, like don't that's just microphone wise, it's literally this is like a what is this, a Shure SM7B. So that's like a £200 microphone, $200 microphone, plugged into a Focusrite Scarlett audio interface, which again is like £100. USB into my weird laptop thing that we can talk about in a bit if you like. And that's it. Like there's no more cost involved apart from those things, apart from the camera. But again, I've been doing it for a while, so that's why we have nice cameras.
So I think in terms of cost, a minimum floor. I mean, you think about what I look back on my times as an MSP and how stupidly I spent money on marketing, like dropping $2,500 on Google Ads per month, and didn't result in anything. But then when I noticed that when it came to spending $1,000 on a tech setup, we kind of bristle at that. But,
however, in July 2 months' time, everyone's going to go spend £1,000 on a brand new mobile phone when it comes out. Probably.
You just
I'm not
made
saying,
my point.
but
That's where it's kind of a weird thing that we have, because I'm like, I'm going to spend $2,500 on SEO. I'm going to go hire somebody to do this. And like, I literally wasted tens of thousands of dollars on trying marketing efforts when all I had to do was start with a nice $1,000 piece of kit and just talk to a camera. And that has, you've talked about people who are bringing results. It's the same thing. My whole business is around video. I don't do any other. I do all video. Some of it goes to the podcast, but I think it lends itself to, if you're going to invest in yourself and use it and view it as an investment, it will give you return on investment.
Yeah, absolutely. If people need some gear kind of recommendations, there is a kit list I have, which is kit.co/Pete Matheson. And that has a few various kit lists for different budgets as well, from like microphones to cameras to lighting. I would say, going back to what I was saying before, audio's first, lighting second, camera lens and all that kind of stuff like third. Just prioritize in that order if you can.
Cool. I'm testing the link out, Andrea, if you want to jump to questions.
Yeah, you mentioned ROI. I was going to ask you, I know it'll vary by people and what content they're putting out there, but how long should it take to expect an ROI, and how do you measure an ROI when it comes to video marketing?
This is the one that's really difficult to quantify.
Of course,
and I asked it myself when I started. I've even had like my own course members say, what's the ROI and how are you getting your ROI? And it's the difficulty is because I can quickly point and go, there was a video at 6 months that delivered a result for us. We've had leads and inquiries and clients that have come off the back of videos. But it's that big part of the audience that you can't see that's the problem, because you can't see them and you don't know they're there and they don't interact until they interact. And this is the thing, like someone phoning me up a year later saying, I've watched you for a year, I'm now ready to buy. And it's that whole, like, if you stop posting, then that person might then not continue watching, and you might kind of become irrelevant over time. And that's something I've thought about with my YouTube channel that's been inactive for so long. And it does vary hugely on the type of content you're putting out, how much time and what you're investing into it. But I think if you're really paying attention, if you're really learning from all the resources that are out there, looking at the statistics and going, okay, let's improve the content, let's see this particular post hit with a certain group of people, let's try and evolve that, create it slightly differently, do it in different format, whatever it might be, and just keep trying, and you will find the returns. And it is impossible, because we even have it still to this day, and I even have it when people still like join the courses and things that I've got, of like, how did you come across me? Was it YouTube? Was it just like a natural SEO? Did you find the website? And like 100% of them it's all off the back of your YouTube videos. And again, that's the first time I've heard of their name since like when they actually bought from me. So it's very difficult to find people unless they're already doing it, like the Tom Lawrences and the people that I mentioned before. But in terms of expectations, I would always say, like, for me, when I started doing video, my expectations were 1 to 2 years of posting a video every single week with no likes, comments, followers, subscribers, none of that stuff. I'm going to commit to doing this for 1 to 2 years and then see where I am. And then thankfully for me, it was more like 6 months to a year when we were like really seeing the compounding effects of doing them. But so many people will do it for maybe 1, 3, maybe 6 months and then stop because they're not seeing anything. And I would say, if you are doing those kind of things, either look at the videos you are posting, maybe something needs to change, or maybe just keep doing it, because it is very, very slow to begin with. Like, it took me, when we sold our business, I think I had 500 subscribers on YouTube, which like now feels like nothing, but that was still like brand building. We were still turning up to events locally and people knew who we were, and we were that company that did the videos, and it's just accelerated so fast beyond that. And I'm seeing the same story. There's Clay from DPC Technology. I'm going to speak with him in a few weeks' time. He makes videos. Also, Jonathan Edwards from Integral.
Yep.
I'm hanging out with Americans too much. Integral IT in the UK. He's also been doing them for so long. He gets great views for great engagement on his content. And so just stick at it and learn from those that are, already doing it and see what you can do. And a big part of like the video like marketing aspect, people are out there doing it already. Go look at their content. You can literally see which piece of the content has the best views, the best engagement. Go and look at them, see if you can learn from them. I'm not saying copy them, but you can learn from them and figure out how you can adjust your marketing strategy to kind of take advantage of that information as well.
Yeah. So I know a lot of what you're talking about with brand building and doing the videos is really geared toward the MSP owner, but let's just say maybe there's a marketing person or someone else within the company. Do you recommend like them both doing video and maybe both building a brand too of their own, or how would you go about that in an organization?
Interesting approach. I think I would always go to it being, a senior level marketing director, someone that kind of has a piece of the pie, so to speak, because the company is them. It's like it's their thing. And if you're really kind of sharing honestly and openly about the things, like one of the like common misconceptions I find with the type of content is creating the techie content. It's the easiest thing to go to. Let's create some techie videos about antivirus or the latest ransomware that's doing the rounds. That kind of content is great to establish that you know what you're talking about. It's great to get used to being on camera and getting comfortable with the whole thing. But I'm finding time and time again that the more interesting pieces of content are the stuff that's the inner workings of like what's going on behind the scenes. Tell us about when you messed up and how did you react and how did you deal with that? What challenges have you had in business? It's those kind of what's going on. Whereas as soon as you bring in a marketing team, you are basically, not basically, but you're literally paying this marketing team to say things to then bring in your clients. It becomes less genuine, I always feel. I'm not saying you can't do it, but that marketing team instead, rather than them creating the content themselves, could then bring on, set things up, bring on the owner of the business, interview them, speak to members of the team, ask them, what challenges they've had in their day, what's going on, and they can still get that same kind of, still get the regular content going out. But it's rather than them sat down shooting a very fixed, today we're going to talk about this thing that's happened and this is the latest news, to something that's actually educational, entertaining, informative. That people need to have a reason to consume your content. And if you're just kind of regurgitating the same stuff, no one really cares about cybersecurity and IT stuff in terms of like their businesses. They just need technology that works. So if you can share beyond the technology, like give them a reason to watch your content, and that can be like the stupidest stuff. Like, again, find out what your audience is interested in and then go after them through that kind of method.
Perfect.
That's great.
And Jonathan Edwards is actually on here. So I
Is he?
actually watch Jonathan's
mate,
stuff.
that's fun.
Yeah, good job. So do you think short form video like TikTok would be good for MSPs?
Yes, Jonathan, reply to my message if you haven't already. Maybe Jonathan can post in the comments on how he's been doing with video, because that'd be good to know. Short form content. This is interesting because I think it was Paul Green's. I listened or watched his podcast maybe last week where he was saying, don't do Instagram, don't do TikTok. We're not teeny boppers dancers. We don't dance and do these silly things. But again, it comes down to like, where are people consuming their content? Like, what are they like? I watch TikTok. I scroll through Instagram Reels, and I know so many people that do that. Not Facebook, Meta Threads. That's a whole new thing nowadays. It's just finding out where they are interacting in, and that's like as simple as emailing your customers and just asking them like, what do you do in your spare time? What kind of media do you consume? Do you watch TV? Do you watch YouTube? There's a big swing in bigger percentages of people watching YouTube on their TV as a replacement for TV. What kind of shows do you watch on Netflix? What do you do on social media? Are you an Instagram person? Are you a Facebook? Are you find the platforms they're on, because when you learn the platforms they're on, you can then be in those platforms. So if your clients and prospective clients are on TikTok, you should be on TikTok. If you're on Reels, then start doing Reels. It's just finding out the lay of the land. I do also think, just to answer Jonathan's question there, specifically like short form content. Short form content is a very, very good and quick way to get reach and get access to a lot of people, because it's so much faster to just scroll through and see a lot of things, so you can get a lot more views. But a lot of people, I've done the same thing. I watch a lot of shorts. Probably couldn't even give you the name of one of them. Don't know who they are. I scroll, that's quite funny, or informative, cool, scroll to the next one. Sometimes I like them, sometimes I follow them, but the long form content, that's when you really start building like a personal relationship with the person you're watching. I know who they are because the videos are generally longer. There's more time for breathing space, whereas the shorts are very like quick fire, bam, 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 deliver the information. You flicked up and scrolled onto someone else's thing. So yeah, hopefully that's helped and been a long ramble.
I think it does. Let's go here. We got quite a few comments and questions have come in, so I want to make sure we get time to those who actually show up live. That can ask
Absolutely.
questions. So we love.
And sorry if this sounds overcomplicated as well. I'm very aware of like, yeah, post on Shorts, post on TikTok, post on Instagram, post on this and that. It's very overwhelming. Very, very like I would be overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed myself. So I just post on YouTube right now. I'm currently focusing on growing my Instagram Reels because that's another, for me, my business, that's another way to monetize. I don't really focus on TikTok or Twitter or Meta or anything else. It's just really focusing on those two platforms. And again, like do the same thing for you. If most of your clients are hanging around on one or two platforms, just focus on those and don't worry about the others. Like don't even bother trying to repost because I just find that it's not even worth the time of like scheduling it to worry about those platforms.
Absolutely. So Keith Nelson asks, is it too arrogant to post video of your news appearances? Should they be shown raw or integrated into a presentation?
It depends. Why would people watch a video of your news appearance? Like, you need to make it relevant to the person that's watching the video. Whether you open up the video quickly with, "Oh, hey, this thing has just happened in the news," and I'm going to give you a clip of when I was being interviewed, and here's the clip. Just you need to. There's this whole thing with videos of the packaging of the video. So the title, the thumbnail, that's like the packaging. And then there's the click through. So when someone clicks into the video and then they watch the video. So you need to get the packaging right. So when they click on it, they're actually satisfied and they get the thing that they've been promised. So as long as all that stuff is doing its thing, then yes, you can do, but just need to work on the packaging first.
Yeah. And I think it's important like I click on things that I'm curious about. And I think that's the big thing that works on YouTube. I'm with you though. I study YouTube. I don't just, but I watch in the evening. That's how I came across Pete McKinnon during the pandemic. I would watch YouTube in the evening. But you start to study it. You start to learn, okay, I like what he did there. I like this. You start to learn those tips and techniques as well. Samuel asked, have you ever used tutorials / how-to? I know this is, you got to watch Pete's channel. How-tos or screen grab content. What would you say your experience gets the traction and engagement?
All of the above is the answer to that question. At some point, yes, we have done. Again, it just comes back to like, what kind of videos are you making? And I'm not saying, when I said earlier, it's the behind the scenes stuff that does well. You can still have a successful, like Jonathan Edwards, like, man, he posts like tech tutorials and, 365 versus Google and like all these kind of really, really interesting videos. But then there are other channels that are just focusing on the cybersecurity stuff. Some people are just focusing on the like Tom Lawrence, super technical, and he gets lots of leads in because people watch his videos, go, well, that's really complicated. I don't want to do that myself. Let's just get Tom to do it. And that's like another great approach. So you can do, you can do screen sharing. There are plenty of tools out there that allow you to kind of record your face and screen share and do all those kind of things. Again, it just comes down to like, why are they going to watch your video? One thing I would say is that, so I noticed this as soon as my business was bought. So we had a YouTube channel, the company got bought, and I went from making cool videos to they were suddenly just putting up hour-long webinars and posting them as like that was their like YouTube strategy. And it's just like, there was no incentive to sit there and watch an hour-long webinar about Microsoft Teams. Like, who's really going to, apart from your customers, like who's going to watch that? Like, you need to have some reason for them to go and watch the content. And how long should content be? It can be as short as a few seconds. It could be as long as a few hours. Again, it just depends what they're there for. People watch, Thingy Snyder direct cuts that are like 4 or 5 hours long. There's a reason why people stick around, because they're super interested and it's good to watch. But there's also plenty of opportunities where content is like, 5 or 6 seconds long or even shorter than that. So yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, how to use Microsoft Teams, that's not keeping the CEO of a law firm up at night. So, you know what I mean? So you got to think in terms of who your audience is as well. Ernst asks, how do you get inspiration to make an engaging video every week? That's one of the challenges as a two-man MSP. So I think there's two sets of that coin we talked about, those nimble MSPs and then maybe a little bit larger of a team.
So what I might be able to do after this, actually, so as I don't want to like flog my own words, so as part of my course, I literally give away like a year's worth of scripts, like fully scripted videos. But if I just copy out the list of titles, because that's like inspiration enough to get started, I can maybe send them across to one of you, and I don't know if you want to post it in the show notes or something like that. So that give you like a year's worth of weekly videos titles to get you going. But there's like, even yes, you're a two-man MSP, but you have a lot of customers. You probably have a ticketing system with loads of stuff coming in. You can just work through that list, like pick up the common questions first and start making content around that stuff. And then like, look, the first part of doing video is getting used to being on video. Like,
Yep.
kind of doesn't matter what you post about to start with. Again, go back on like the webinar stuff. If that's how you get used to being on video, smash your heart out. Do webinars for like the next year and just post them. But once you're comfortable on video, then start doing the other content. Start playing around, figuring out what works and what doesn't work, and just kind of learn as you go along from there.
Yeah, it's just, you got to build the muscle memory first. That's what I found. It's like the more reps I get, just like working at the gym. It's a pain in the butt. It's super hard the first time you go, but 3 weeks, a month in, you're feeling pretty good. Like it doesn't hurt as bad. So I promise you, I'm with Pete. It doesn't hurt as bad once you get going. And I know Andrew and I, we've had this when we first started together 6 months ago. That's how it was. It's, you know,
I was terrified, literally terrified, and now I'm not quite so scared.
so, but it's just, you know, once you realize that, you know, we're all used to being on camera, whether we realize it or not. I mean, everybody has been on Zoom for 4 years plus. So like that's all this is. This is a Zoom live cast is all this is. So
the way I see it, I probably should have mentioned it earlier, but again, like the reasons why I was doing video marketing, I you know, I was going to like BNI networking events, going to trade shows and all these kind of things. And like people are going to these events. Maybe there's 20 or 30 people in the room. They'll spend 2 or 3 hours in that event. Maybe you'll pay some money to go. Maybe you'll have your breakfast there or what have you. You might speak to 5, maybe 10 people at most. Half of them, maybe even all of them, don't really care who you are because they're there to sell them their own things to you anyway. So you could do that. And you could, people do it week in, week out, every single week for a year. And I was doing the same thing. Oh, but if one client signs up, that's paid for my entire year's membership and all the breakfasts and combined and everything. So you just stick around for a year. Or you can spend that same time, spend that same money, making a video every single week where it will be seen by people that choose to watch your content. They're making a actual decision to click on your video to watch your video and listen to what you have to say. Even though someone might click away, that's fine, but they're choosing to watch you. And you can do that week in, week out, that choose to watch you, to follow you, to build that kind of relationship. And like, I think I looked back at my stats a long time ago now, and my worst performing video was like 40 or 50 views. And that's because, again, like, you're not going to post your video and you're going to get 40 or 50 views. That's like, you know, 5 years later, my worst performing video has 40 views because it's had time to kind of get those views. But that's the thing, like, you can post the video and the worst case is going to happen is you're going to reach more people than you would do at a networking event. And so I just see that every time I go, well, I'm going to make a video every single time instead. It's much more valuable to me and my time to make that. It's going to deliver bigger results for me going forward.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So this kind of leads into how long do you recommend your videos be on YouTube where you get content out but not lose people to boredom? I think that kind
Again, this goes back to kind of videos need to be as long as they need to be. Don't try and stretch something out. There's loads of people that say, oh, it needs to be 8 minutes because then you can add adverts into them or YouTube's going to push it more. I will say that there is enough data to show that longer videos perform better on YouTube. So I think what was the wording? It was your worst long video will outperform your worst short video, if that makes sense. So longer videos do perform better, but don't stretch it out to make it longer just for the sake of it. If it needs to be a 10-minute video, it's 10 minutes. If it needs to be 2 minutes, it's 2 minutes. Again, it's just getting the muscle memory, like we were saying, to begin with, and then you can start figuring out. Like we're looking at doing things like we made a series of videos switching to the S24 Ultra phone, and just to, you know, check out YouTube's ranking system, we're going to literally try and join all of those videos together and just post it as like this 3-4 hour video thing just to see how it performs on YouTube. If anyone hasn't watched already, like there's Ryan Trahan. He does a penny challenge where he takes a penny and he has to like barter with people, and I'm going to swap a penny for a pen, and he basically gets all the way over to no, the other side of America. And that was like a fascinating series to watch in its own right. And every episode again was maybe 8 to 15 minutes or so. But then he's joined them all together as one like 5 hour long episode, and that's like absolutely blasted in terms of views. It's done really, really well. So yeah, sorry, that's a very, very long answer to it needs to be as long as it needs to be.
But I think too, if you look at it in terms of, okay, like if you just do a 5-minute video, like let's just put an abstract time. I'm going to record a 5-minute video. Like how many 5-minute videos can you put out? You know what I mean? It's just, that is a very achievable goal.
Depends how many times you film the 5-minute video, how many takes you make.
But I think, it's easy. Like we all love to talk, and especially if it's about something that we enjoy. So filling up 5 minutes is a relatively accomplishable goal. So I think even have just, okay, I'm going to put out a 2-minute video, and I'm going to do that for every week for a month. And we just build that muscle memory, get better at it. I think that's a highly achievable goal if you're just starting out as creating video.
Find stuff you're passionate about. It's super easy to talk about stuff you're passionate about, even if it's like, oh, my favorite thing is I don't know why for some reason my mind's gone to air fryers. We don't have an air fryer, but there was a whole thing when everyone at some point was buying an air fryer because it was like everyone was talking about it. Like, if you're passionate about something, make the video and talk about the thing, and maybe you'll find someone else that was like, oh, it's amazing, I'm going to go and buy one as well, and it just all kind of goes from there. Maybe not an air fryer, maybe something else more relative.
Dude, you got to get an air fryer. My wife made tater tots in the air fryer the other day. They were the best tater tots I've ever eaten. So, just saying. But I think too, Jonathan Edwards right here. This is classic, and we're going to screenshot this one. We started doing video each week 3 years ago. 95% of his business comes from video. We now have clients in 14 countries. It changed our business.
Jonathan should be on this, not me. Jonathan.
I'm going to have to get him on a show. You got to check him out, Andrew, if you haven't. Because like his videos, as I'm scrolling LinkedIn, like I stop on every one of his videos. Like it's just...
It's the dinosaur. I always see the dinosaur one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just... But again, you're taking a method of branding and he's made it his own, and it's highly engaging. He's like, it's literally entertaining to watch. And that has separated him from everybody else that's in his market that's trying to sell IT services. So
yeah,
let's answer the question Jonathan. That came in on the tribe. So we don't.
Yeah, I was just going to say let's do that one.
Nicole Aitkenhead, she said, with MSPs being targeted by cyber threat actors, how do you get around making your brand personable and relating whilst being mindful of security and not divulging too much information? So how do we...
Interesting.
Yeah.
There's a few different things to take from that, I think, really. There's it depends which angle as well, whether you want to be careful of the information you're sharing because you don't want to share like your location, and obviously things like people can identify where you live very easily even from a video. So there's certainly, things to be cautious of when you're doing that. But also, it just depends on the content you're creating in terms of like, most people aren't going to really have a problem off the back of making like a how-to video or even like a behind-the-scenes video. For us, we had an office space. We were shooting videos in and around our office. Like if someone found out where we were, our address is literally on our website, so we don't really care if they come in. Even though there's videos, look, we sold our business. And the owners of the business didn't even step foot in our office until the day they signed the papers. And I'd like to think a lot of that is because there's a load of videos that shows the inner workings of our business and how it all works and the offices and staff and all those kind of things. But yeah, interesting question. What would you think about that, Andrew? How do you take that question?
I think in terms of, again, it would be the type of video if I'm making, tutorial type videos. Like that's one thing. Obviously, there's ways of covering sensitive data behind the scenes of what a daily life in an IT provider. Like, I think there's obviously ways of filming that where you wouldn't be divulging information. But I think just even talking I just think about the incident this week. A lot of people are talking about the Federal Reserve Bank getting malware, having ransom, whatever. So, but I think if you talk about that conversation in context of how could that possibly affect my small business customers, like I think there's ways of talking about security issues and tech without divulging client information. But it was very like, my two bread and butter clientele verticals were attorneys and property management companies. So I think you can talk in generalities that attorneys, this is how this would affect anybody who's an attorney. This is what you should do right now. It's just, I would educate, but I think you can definitely do that in the tech space without giving up any security information. And I think Tom Lawrence is a perfect example of that. I think he does a very good job of explaining technical things. Even Jonathan does a great way of explaining tech, being personable, building that brand, but I'm not worried that he's divulging any security stuff on any of his videos. So I think it's just, you got to be cautious about that, but don't let that stop you from getting started. I think would be the best advice I would have to Nicole.
What he said.
Yeah, I think it's like if you're if I'm doing a screen share, obviously I don't want to be showing ConnectWise or Autotask or what I mean. If you're doing those types of videos where you're showing things on your screen, obviously got to be mindful of that. Stuff.
I've had moments where people have left comments on my video saying, I think you just doxed yourself at like 7 minutes and 33 into that video, and I've looked and gone, let's go and blur that bit out quickly after. And so things do slip through sometimes, and you just try and fix them as quickly as you can. And
it's one of those you put it on the checklist. Your run of show when you make videos is don't have your email open that could be showed if I'm showing my screen. Like it's just the logical thing. So MVP first said, when Pete sold his MSP, what happened to his original YouTube videos? Did they get transferred to the new owner, or can we still watch them and learn from Pete's YouTube channel?
I think if you go to my main channel, the one that's the big channel, I think if you scroll all the way back to my oldest videos, most of the videos are still there. I think I've delisted some of like the testimonial videos because they just aren't relevant. But I'm pretty sure the videos are still up on the channel. So weirdly, one of the things when we were selling the business, you kind of write a list of what you want, and like number one on my list was I want to take the YouTube channel with me, as some like weird teenager kid taking something that like people don't understand. So I took the YouTube channel with me and just carried on posting videos, and over time we've kind of merged it into what it's become today.
Perfect. I'm going to post that in there as well so people can get straight to your YouTube channel. So I just popped that in the chat for you folks. So let's look back through here. Make sure we got all the questions answered. One more from Ernst, a tech question. I knew there would be a tech question. What's your favorite editing tools? We'll leave it there on the tech questions. So
my favorite editing tool is having an editor. That fixes all the editing problems. But fair question. So we edit on Final Cut. We've been using Final Cut for a while. However, my videographer is using DaVinci Resolve, and DaVinci Resolve, for the most part, is free. You can use that across Mac, Windows, like all cross-platform, completely free, unless you want to go and pay for the extra next step up where you get access to a few more tools. So DaVinci, Final Cut, Premiere Pro, if you're already subscribed to the Adobe suite, all the tools are great. It's just a case of, working at them and learning them and getting better at them over time, really.
Yep. Or you can do
there's also one I will mention here, Gling.ai, Gling.ai. You can literally throw up your raw recorded video file and it will cut out all the mistakes, all the ums and ers, and it will like take the latest correct take of something if you had to repeat yourself a few times. So that's a really good way to kind of shortcut your editing process. And it will spit it out in a file you can then open in DaVinci or Final Cut or Premiere or any of the other editors. Perfect.
We knew we had to leave it with the tech question. Being the tech tribe and being us tech folks, we had to leave it. So Pete, thank you so much. We're 5 minutes past the hour, so I want to be respectful of your time. There were a couple more questions. Maybe I'll throw those over in the tech tribe channel in the forum, so whenever you get around to it. But we appreciate you being here. Appreciate you sharing with us your journey.
Yes. Thank you.
Like I said, we could probably go a 2 or 3 hour stream talking about the ins and outs of it.
Easily.
Easily. So Thank
But
you so
I'm in the
much.
tech tribe. If anyone wants to kind of message me directly, like on Twitter or LinkedIn, or like I'm totally open. Like my biggest involvement in the MSP community nowadays is just to hang out and chat. So if you want to chat. I'm always around.
Perfect. Thanks, Pete, for being with us. We appreciate it. And we'll talk to you soon, my friend.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, folks who hung out till the end. Like I said, we could probably go on this topic. Hopefully this maybe allayed some fears that we have. You're not alone. Andrew and I both, I get nervous every time I hit go on the camera. So that doesn't go away. But just, get started for sure. So Jen McCreary said, thanks for the great information. McRory, sorry. MVP first said, thank you so much. It was fun. Ernst said, thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's ready for bed there. So Tanya said, thank you as well. So I knew this was going to be a good topic. I knew the tribers, especially, like Pete mentioned, there's not many people doing it.
Yeah.
Like, you want to be different. You want to have marketing that's different. Like right there, podcasting and video are the two things.
Get started.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Andrea, we're going to wrap it for here. When is our next one? Let's see. We've got our next show. Pop this in here.
10th, but
July 10th.
I could be wrong. Yep. Okay.
MSP Growth Clinic, 7 p.m. Eastern Time on July 10th. So I know it's a holiday here in the States, so a lot of people are going to have long weekends next week. But we appreciate those of folks who hung out with us live this week. Jonathan Edwards, I didn't grab his YouTube channel. Y'all have to pop that in there, but definitely check him out on LinkedIn as well if you want to get some inspiration on how to make fun, engaging videos, especially in the tech space. So, all right, Andrea, that's going to wrap it for me. I'm going to go have a late afternoon lunch before another 3:30 meeting. So we will see you all inside the Tech Tribe. Thank you so much, and we'll see you on our next. See ya.